Hi everyone! If you're new here, my name is Emily. I'm a DIYer because I can't afford to do otherwise. And today we're not DIYing anything. Instead, we are continuing our decluttering series. I was working on my basement actually, and that was going to be the video that I was going to produce this week, but something happened last night that I felt like I needed to share with everyone. So while I talk about that, I was going to declutter or finish decluttering my bedroom. I already did the closet video, so you can go back and watch that. But so that took care of like the majority of the room, but there's still like nightstands and my vanity and even stuff under the bed that could probably be decluttered. So that's what I'm going to do today instead. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and just chat with you for a little bit and tell you something that I experienced yesterday and that I feel like a lot of people experience and might not talk about whenever it comes to minimalism. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get started. So if you've been here for a while, you know I'm not a minimalist. You could probably tell by my background right now, or just all of these videos. I am by far not a minimalist, but I am a minimalist wannabe, and I am striving to live a more minimal lifestyle. I am a recovering shopaholic, even borderline recovering hoarder, and not very organized, and I am learning and getting past all of that, and you guys are joining me together. But technically I didn't just start this, I've actually been doing it for quite a while, because I know that I am leaps and bounds further than I was when I first started. So I grew up with a mom who also loves to shop, and she still does, and she and I still love to shop together. It's just something that we do together and we enjoy. But as you can imagine, that being our prime way of hanging out, we accumulated a lot of stuff. I remember my closet in high school was just like packed in there and overflowing, and I had 2 levels. At first I started with 1, and then I asked my dad if he could move one of the shelves down so that I could have 2 levels, and it's still 2 levels to this day. Actually, I think my mom filled it up and one of those shelves fell off and it's still just sitting there. But that's beside the point, that there were 2 levels and they were packed to where like you couldn't even get pushed apart so you could see the garment. You had to literally take it out and then squeeze it back in there. That's just the way I grew up, and my mom is still kind of like that, as you saw from me decluttering her kitchen. She's still like that. She and I both are kind of on our way to being not as bad. Now, she still likes to shop. She still shops, and she can afford to, but I cannot. And so whenever I started living on my own, I was introduced to thrifting and yard sailing by one of my teachers who took me out, or my Sunday school teachers and our life group leaders that took me out shopping with her one day, and it was super fun. Me and this group of girls, we went yard sailing, we found tons of stuff for really cheap, and that opened up a whole different kind of cans of worms of like this whole treasure hunt. You know, you go treasure hunting at yard sales and thrift stores, and it's so exciting. Like, I already feel like whenever you buy something new, you have this kind of like explosion of endorphins, but then whenever you find something new on a really great deal, then it's a whole different level of endorphins, especially for me, because I really enjoy it. But then also, this is a little embarrassing to admit, but I also was kind of a dumpster diver. Not really, I didn't actually go into people's dumpsters and just like started rummaging through, but my town had this thing called Clean Up Fix Up Week, where anybody in the neighborhoods within the city limits could put anything they wanted on the curb. And I and a few other friends would go around and pretty much shop people's trash. They would put furniture out there, they would put bags and bags of just junk, anything was allowed, and the trash people would come by and collect it. But it was kind of advertised to junkers like me to just go out and take whatever you wanted from people's yards. And I found a lot of really great stuff, and sometimes I would just sell it for a little bit of a profit, and sometimes I would plan to flip it or renovate it or restore it somehow, and that was also very addicting and fun for me. So by the time I was living in my first apartment, to get to the apartment, you actually had to walk through a storage room, and that storage room was probably about as big as my bedroom is now. It was a good size room, and I had it stuffed from floor to ceiling, and there was a walkway from the door that you go into the apartment to the door to get into the actual living quarters of the apartment. And it was stuff from floor to ceiling with stuff that I had thrifted or picked up off the side of the road, planned on restoring it, painting it, selling it, whatever. But I was bringing more stuff in than I could get out. Once you got into the apartment, I had furniture almost wall to wall. I had it fully stocked. And I'm also a decorator, so I do enjoy decorating a space. And so it was kind of like this challenge of how I could decorate it for as cheaply as possible, to where I just kind of got this mismatched furniture collection in this apartment. I remember I had 3 couches in there at one point, and the TV stand, and a coffee table and nightstands, and then there was a dresser behind the couch working as a sofa table, and there was a table, and there was chairs whenever you first walk. Anyway, the point is that this apartment had way more furniture than a single girl living there needed. And it also had 2 beds, but I did invite one of my best friends to live with me at the time, so she got one of the beds, I got the other bed, but the rest of the furniture was mine. And then you go into the closet, and the closet space was half the size of my bedroom, and it was wall-to-wall hanging space. And I gave my roommate at the time probably a space about this big, and she filled it up just no problem. And then I took over the rest. And at this time, yes, I was planning on thrifting or flipping it for a profit. And I even had a Poshmark closet way back then, and was planning on thrifting and flipping it for a profit. But the problem was that I was bringing more stuff in than I could manage, and it was just inventory. It literally was inventory for my Poshmark or my furniture flipping dreams or all these things or all of this, and it got to be overwhelming. And then I got married, and my wedding was completely DIY'd and thrifted. And after the wedding, I got sentimentally attached to all of those things. It was fun to find it and gather it up. The wedding has, of course, memories and all of that. And then instead of getting rid of it, I decided to turn that into a business deal as well. If you can tell, I tried to turn everything into some sort of money-making thing. I'm not very good at it. But anyway, I tried to turn that into a business as well and started renting all of that out to gain some money to pay off the wedding. So that was even more literal inventory that I had to take care of. So then we moved out of the apartment, and actually all the wedding stuff was already in the garage to this house because my dad was building a house and he was gonna let us live there for a little bit. Anyway, so I was already taking up the garage with all of my wedding stuff that I was renting out. And then the basement was full of furniture that I was trying to flip for a profit, and then the spare bedroom was full of the clothes that I was trying to sell on Poshmark for a profit. It was literally inventory. Like Dawn, the minimal mom, uses the term inventory that we have to manage, which is for everyday stuff, but I was literally running like 3 different businesses. They weren't official businesses, but they're just like little side hustles. Literally inventory that I was having to manage. And then I got pregnant and had our son and was trying to manage inventory for 3 different side hustles and be a mom and have a part-time job. I got overwhelmed, and then so I finally decided that it was time to start purging some of the stuff. So in 2019 is whenever I started the Declutter Like a Mother challenge, and I did my first big purge. And looking back on it now, I'm like, holy cow, I had so much, and it was just the first layer. That kind of started the gears turning. It was 6 months later that we up and decided to move to Canada. That's a longer story than actually that, but long story short, we up and moved to Canada. And because my dad was keeping the house, I used that as an excuse to store stuff that I didn't really need to use in Canada, but didn't want to let go of yet. So we probably sold 1/3 of our stuff, took 1/3 of our stuff, and then left 1/3 of our stuff. And you know what's funny is our friends that helped us move out of the apartment the first time did not return to help us the second time. So living in a smaller apartment with 2 children at the time in Canada, I felt like really was what opened my eyes to what a more minimal lifestyle could be. I had to get creative with the storage solutions because there was not a storage room. We used a bathtub actually as our storage room, because there was nowhere else to put Christmas decorations and stuff like that. So we had a bathtub that we used as storage. And then whenever we came or moved back to the US, we brought all of that stuff plus some stuff that we had bought while we were there back with us. And then my dad decided that he was going to finally sell that house that I was storing all of our other stuff in. He brought all of that to me. And so now I felt so overwhelmed with all of this junk that I had been living without for 2 years and honestly did not miss. And what I noticed as I was going through it is that it was really just I was sentimentally attached to these things because memories were tied to them, but I noticed they were getting broken and they were getting dusty and they were getting gross, and they were, because the Bible tells us that moth and dust doth corrupt when you just store your treasures here on earth. And I was like, this is definitely true. So it took me a little bit because the sentimental attachment was still there. But after a while, I was able to let go of 90% of that stuff. Though I am a million times better now than I ever have been, I still have a long, long way to go, because as you can see, we moved into this house and filled it up so fast. And that's because even though I have changed my how attached I am to things, or changed my view on needing to keep things for longer than I should, I did not change my spending habits. So that, I didn't really say that at the beginning of the year, but that was kind of like the unspoken goal of this year. So yesterday I had put the kids down for their naps on a Sunday, and I laid down as well to just chill for a rainy Sunday afternoon. And I started scrolling my phone, and an ad came up for Old Navy jeans. And there was 2 pairs of Old Navy jeans that I have had my eye on for quite a while, and I found out that they were on clearance. So I got excited, and then on top of the clearance, I had super cash to use, ended up only paying $5 per pair of jeans. That was exciting for me. And even though $5 pairs of jeans, that's great, that's awesome, and I had been eyeballing this for a while, and I will wear them a lot because I wear jeans pretty much every day. At work, not at home. But anyway, that spending and that little like kick of endorphins set off this entire chain of events. So I got on Poshmark, and I was like, well, I really want my daughter. She sees the cheerleaders at my son's basketball game, and she just loves them. And I think it would just be so much fun to get her a cheerleading outfit that she can wear to the games, and she could pretend to be a little cheerleader, a little 3-year-old. I thought it would be so cute. So I found some on Poshmark. I liked them. I saved them. And then but was gonna wait to pull the trigger because I was like, well, I'm going to Walmart later. Maybe I'll stop by the thrift store and look for something cheaper. Because again, it's that treasure hunt. I'm looking for the best deal, but also like the cutest item for the best deal. It was a treasure hunt. And since I already started my spending, I was kind of on this spending kick. Anyway, so that night we ran out of milk, so I have to run to the store to grab some milk. And I'm not saying don't buy groceries. And while I was there, I was kind of enjoying the time out by myself because, you know, I'm a mom, I don't get that very often. I just started browsing the aisles. And I come across, as you might know, I live in Missouri, and the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. And I come across this Super Bowl aisle, and I'm like, oh, look, they have a whole bunch of stuff. I pick out one that I like, because I'm like, I don't have a Super Bowl shirt to wear next week. And we're going to wear them to, I think we're having a sports day at school, and then we're going to have sports day at church, and then I can wear it at the Super Bowl, so I'll get 3 uses out of it. So I justified putting that in my cart. And then I just kept on roaming the aisles of Walmart, and I came across the Valentine's Day aisle, and thought, oh, my kids are having a pajama day, Valentine's themed pajama day at school, so I need to get them Valentine's themed pajamas. So I put 2 of those in my cart. And then I'm like, oh, well, Valentine's Day also means that I have to get the Valentines for my kids to give out to their class. And all of the Valentines were these cute, like I was picked out a Frozen one for my daughter and a Spider-Man one for my son. And they came with erasers or pencils or some sort of little trinket to go with it. So I put those in my cart. And I'm like, well, I got to get my kids something for Valentine's as well, because I always usually do this, some sort of little thing for them to wake up to. So it's special for them as well. Anyway, so then I picked out a few things for them and put that in my cart. And then I just kind of felt this little tug, like, you don't need any of that. And I want to say it was just God saying, put it all back. Because I am sitting here trying to do a minimalist, huge declutter. My garage is full of junk that I do not need, that I have already decided that I do not need. And now I'm bringing in a cart full to replace it all. And so I put it all back. I'm like, okay, fine. I know I'm trying to be minimalist, so I'm going to put it all back. But then I was angry. Like, I was really, really mad that I wasn't going to get to participate in all of these things and make Valentine's Day and the Super Bowl special for me and my kids. I was mad about it. I was literally like throwing a little hissy fit. And then my husband came and he's like, but being wasteful on things that you know are going to end up in the yard sale pile or the donate pile this time next year. He said, is that being a good steward of what the Lord has given you? And so that really convicted me, and I said, no, it's not. And so I'm glad I didn't buy it all, but I'm also just thankful for my husband for being the Lord's voice in that moment. But then I was like, but I'm still mad. Like, this is things that I wanted to participate in. Well, guess what? My kids have pajamas that they can wear. They don't have hearts all over them, and they're not pink or red or whatever, but they're pajamas, and I should be thankful that my kids have clean pajamas to wear to school. And then I was like, well, I have sweatshirts, and I'm a crafter, so I can make my own sweatshirt. Like, I just kind of collect them if I find them at the thrift store for really cheap. I collect thrift or sweatshirts and t-shirts so that I can make stuff whenever the time arises. And so I was like, well, if I could be crafty with the sweatshirt, then I can be crafty with my kids' Valentines as well, and maybe give something that's more or less trinket and junk wise, but something more consumable, like a snack or even stickers. I feel like is pretty consumable, and we can make our own. And that was going to, now I get to make the Valentines with my kids instead of just buying whatever is advertised to me off the shelf. Instead, we will get this fond memory of us making them together and they giving them to their student or to their class and all of this. So within a couple hours, I kind of did this whole entire 180 twist on I'm mad that I'm missing out, to where I am so glad that I put it all back and that the Lord revealed to me a different way to utilize my talents and my gifts and be grateful for what we have. So anyway, that's my little spiel. If you're worried that minimalism is going to take away from the experiences, there are ways to work around it. And so I just encourage you to challenge yourself and think, okay, well, I don't want to buy this, but I don't want to miss out. What's another way that I can make this even better with what I have? And so that's a challenge, yes, and it's hard, and sometimes it's just easier to buy what's on the shelf. But I'm also just challenging you to see what the Lord is convicting you on, what to buy and what not to buy, and what you should be doing, and being good stewards of what the Lord has given you, and also not laying up your treasures here on heaven. So I do feel like minimalism and the strive for minimalism is more an experience with the Lord and getting closer to Him. So I'm encouraging you guys to do the same and to look at it in a different light. So anyway, let's go through what I'm getting rid of in my bedroom.
Okay, this is actually a drawer from the bathroom that I now created enough space in my vanity to be able to put all of my beauty products, which the only thing that was in here was nail polish and extra makeup. So now I was able to move that to my vanity. This is the relocation pile. It's a few like things that need to go down in the memory box, and then a few things that need to go in the electronics drawer. And this is everything I'm getting rid of. Everything in this little suitcase. And just some extra clothes that were under the bed. For some reason, I don't know why. And then, yeah, just like extra bags that I bought that didn't end up working out. My mom bought this for me for Christmas, but I don't wear jewelry. It's a jewelry box, or like a travel jewelry box. And just little things that just seem to creep in. So we're gonna get rid of all of this.